Well, hello, and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your twice-weekly dose of the finest 2A propaganda. Now, back in March, I told you about how New Jersey was giving out free stickers to anybody who wanted one in a desperate attempt to get businesses to ban guns on premises. At the same time, I also warned you folks not to abuse that system.
A winky face.
Which was not using JavaScript validation to prevent out-of-state entries or IP logging or even cookies to prevent multiple entries, and it sounds like you miscreants ignored my warnings.
Winky face.
Oh, Lord.
Because out of the 423 requests, only about a third came from New Jersey, and while most of those were bars, even many of the Jersey applicants were obviously trolling with names like Tyrannical Gov Officials for Prison LLC and Mothers for Safe Funds. Then there were the local municipalities that requested signs, even though they already have their own signage, and the offices for the FBI and ATF in New Jersey were also listed. Now, why would they have... Wait, do you think some ne'er-do-well requested a sticker on their behalf as some sort of mischievous hijinks?
That would never happen.
But hey, it would be impossible for us to produce quality 2A propaganda without sponsors, so let's pay some bills. Today's video is sponsored by Franklin Armory. Anything worth shooting is worth shooting twice, and now, while supplies last, you can go binary for less because both the discontinued straight and curved fixed trigger models for their AR platform are deeply discounted to make room for Franklin Armory's brand new interchangeable trigger bow model, the AR Elite.
Franklin Armory, those freedom facilitators who brought you twice the pews with their binary firing system, because it's a scientific fact that bad guys with twice as many holes in them are half as dangerous. So in the unfortunate event you should ever need your firearm for defense, remember, it's math. It can't be wrong.
And by Vortex, we've been running their new Defender line of red dots hard since before launch. They found a home on all of our guns, whether for concealment, for competition, or for anything in between. They are rugged, they are packed with features, and they flat out perform. With the CCW, the ST, and the XL, there is a dot for you, and let's not forget their no questions asked VIP warranty that covers just about anything. And by Hydra. The Mark 15 Hydra is the most versatile black rifle platform the industry has ever seen. The most you will ever need to convert calibers is a barrel, a bolt, and a magazine well. Hey, have y'all been following this Killflash saga with Defense Distributors? No, not Defense Distributed. The past tense distributing of Defense is a totally different company, which is related to archiving and sharing weapon designs and data. Defense Distributors sells commo equipment and gun-related accessories. They recently posted a redacted letter from the U.S. Patent Office and a video claiming they are not allowed to sell their new anti-reflection device. Killflash is, of course, a brand name, so that's not what this is, but that's basically the same thing. Defense Distributors claims their design is extra gooder than other designs, and it's entirely possible the federal government is being just an absolute dickhead right now and prohibiting them from selling their cool new ARD. The problem is that nothing in the unredacted portions of the letter actually says anything about their patent application being denied, let alone being prohibited from selling anything, so some folks are speculating that Defense Distributors is misinterpreting this letter or overreacting. I mean, it's not uncommon for the more mundane, arbitrary government bureaucracy answer to turn out to be right. What do you folks think? What's this letter all about? Are they really prohibited from selling their ARD, or are they overreacting? The ATF hates freedom.
Duh.
And I don't mean that just in the sense that guns are the foundation for self-determination. I mean that in the sense that, like all impotent would-be despots, they are terrified of the notion of people doing things for themselves, choosing, deciding, building, and learning for themselves.
You're not supposed to think about it.
Desktop manufacturing is most especially frightful for them. They know it spells the end for any attempts at gun control. So it really comes as no surprise the Fed boys have started ineffectually bleating for 3D squirter manufacturers to come up with some way to prevent guns and autoseers from being printed.
It's time to burn some books!
Problem is, whether you attack it at the slicer or the firmware level or whatever, there are numerous workarounds. These Karens are trying to shoehorn roadblocks into the beating heart of the homebrew and open source communities, and even if it were possible, it would add cost. And why would consumers choose a more expensive, less capable product? In short, Printer control is every bit as pointless as gun control, and the feds are powerless to stop you. Keep printing, kings. Back in July of last year, Robert Kuhlman's mom called him because some crazy dude refused to leave her house. She called 911 first, but unsurprisingly, her son arrived before police.
You'll get used to it.
When Kuhlman got to his mom's house, he told the weirdo to leave, but weirdo reached into his bag, so Kuhlman drew his pistol and won the self-restraint award by just holding the weirdo at gunpoint for normal police to arrive. Now, I don't mean police officers that weren't unusual. I mean the normal Illinois Police Department. The cops briefly took Mr. Kuhlman's handgun and returned it to him, then took the weirdo off to the loony bin for evaluation. No charges were filed against Mr. Kuhlman. Sometime later, 2 of the cops filed a report claiming Mr. Kuhlman was a clear and present danger to himself or others. That caused Mr. Kuhlman's carry permit and FOID to be revoked. That's the permission slip that you need to be allowed to have guns in Illinois. At first glance, our more magnanimous viewers might be inclined to assume the officers simply made an error in confusing the obvious nutter with the man defending his mom, except the officers made several other factually incorrect statements in their report. They claimed he had been charged with aggravated assault, that they responded to a welfare check, and that Kuhlman feared for the safety of his grandmother. In other words, they got some of the most basic details of the call wrong. So while it is certainly possible they did this out of malice, I think it's clear they're just stupid and bad at their jobs. Which is why it's mildly surprising a judge has allowed Mr. Kuhlman's lawsuit against these 2 cops to proceed, because the Illinois law granting immunity to police officers for making false statements only provides an exception for willful or wanton misconduct. Thankfully, that immunity is no protection in federal court when it comes to violating a person's constitutional rights. It will be some time before we can see a decision in this case, but it's encouraging it's being allowed to proceed at all. And now, for your moment of zen.
What it looks like to shoot a Red Bull from 1.5 miles? That's as good a spot as any.
Come on, buddy, you want to taste a Red Bull? I am on target. Got it!
Hey friends, do you like pews and pew-related things? Would you like to help us keep delivering you We literally couldn't pay the bills without our sponsors, so do us a solid and get yourself something nice from them. You deserve it. I love you. Legally prohibited from selling the AR